Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the Essie Glazed Effect polishes. So this is the third time I have filmed this intro. Once I accidentally deleted it. The second time I filmed the intro and I kind of went on about how there was no information at that point from Essie about this collection yet. I found them on the Ulta website, but I hadn't heard anything about it other than them just being on the Ulta website. So I filmed this intro. I said that I think they are a similar idea to the Silk Watercolor collection from 2015 and that I don't think they're really meant to be worn on their own, blah, blah, blah. I went on. I did all of my swatches, and this is what you're gonna see. I did all of my swatches for these, kind of treating them like that. So I have swatches of them over a silver chrome, a silver glitter, and a white. And then I also have comparisons with the Essie Silk Watercolors from 2015, and then I have swatch pictures of them all in 3 coats on their own. Like the day after I filmed that, no, the same day that I filmed that intro, Essie started promoting this collection, and they're promoting it like full-blown, just wear them alone. So I had to refilm the intro because there's full of like the wrong information, but I'm still gonna treat this whole video more as a comparison to the Silk Watercolors than like a traditional swatch and review, because I think that will be a little more helpful. So 6 polishes here all together, and I will get into kind of swatches. So the first polish is called Sweet Supply, and this is the Sheer Jelly Yellow. So I do have photos of all of these on their own in 3 coats. I'm going to show them over, I think this is called Silver Canvas, which is the silver that came with the OPI Color Paints collection from years back, very similar to these jellies. I have them over a white. This is just the Rica Polish white, and then a silver glitter. This is one that I made because between the swatch sticks and the nails, I've used pretty much half the bottle, so I wanted to use my own. Anyway. So I'm going to show how this applies over these like 3 general bases. For it, I'll show the photo of what it looks like on its own, and then I also want to show on swatch sticks how it compares over these bases to the Silk Watercolor collection from 2015, which is very similar to this. My pinky finger is just going to be hanging out here. So here it is over the silver. This is kind of how the OPI Color Paints advertised theirs, as being able to layer them over a silver. It came with a silver. The Silk Watercolor collection came with a white to layer them over. I don't really think they were meant to be worn like 100% on their own over the white, more for like doing a white base and like making flowers with a dotting tool or something. Although this is pretty even over white, which is kind of surprising. And then because I didn't just want to show 2 options, here it is over a silver holographic glitter as well. So that is Sweet Supply. So here is Sweet Supply, and here is the yellow from the Essie Silk Watercolor collection from 2015. This one is called Muse Myself. You can see, hopefully, as it moves, that the Silk Watercolor one is much thinner, which, I mean, it's called watercolor, so I guess maybe that makes sense. And it also looks considerably darker in the bottle. Here are the 2 over the silver glitter. We have Sweet Supply here and the Silk Watercolor one here. The Silk Watercolor one actually has a little bit less color to it. There's a little bit more opacity to Sweet Supply, but not a huge color difference, not as much as there was in the bottle. And here is Sweet Supply versus Muse Myself over the white. Again, not a huge difference, maybe a little bit darker on the newer one on Sweet Supply, but not much. And the biggest difference is here with Sweet Supply versus Muse Myself over the silver. It definitely held on to a little bit, Sweet Supply held on a little bit better to its yellow color when it went over the silver, where the Silk Watercolor version from a few years ago kind of got a little bit more gray. The next color is the orange. This is called Confection Affection. And I dented the silver on my pointer finger for both polishes so far. Here is 1 coat over the silver, 1 coat over that white, and then here it is over that silver glitter as well. I think overall we're going to have a little bit more color out of all of these than out of the Silk Watercolors. So, man, that white looks terrible. I told you I didn't want to put it over white. I just didn't want to only do 2 nails. So that is 1 coat of Confection Affection. So the comparable silk watercolor shade to Confection Affection is Art Nouveau. They look almost identical here in the bottle. Confection Affection might be a little bit lighter, but not a huge difference. However, there is a huge difference when they're swatched over the bases. The new Glazed Days Confection Affection has much more pigment to it, much brighter orange. The silk watercolor, again, the whole watercolor thing is making a lot more sense now because they are very sheer. They're a little more patchy. Like this one just looks straight up peach, even though they look the same in the bottle. Here is Confection Affection and Art Nouveau next to each other over white. Again, the older silk watercolor polish here looks more peach than anything else. And again, over the silver, a lot more color out of the new polish, the Confection Affection Glazed Days polish, versus the older ones. Oh, and that one wasn't dry. There goes my piece of paper. These actually almost remind me more of the OPI color paints, which it's been so long since I messed with either one of those collections. I didn't realize how different they actually were, but there is significantly less color in the older silk watercolor polishes. So the next polish is called Glazed Days, which looks red in the bottle, but I'm assuming is going to come off a little bit more pink because it is sheer. Yeah, this is like very, very pink. It doesn't look red at all. That's actually, okay, I might have to make up some more swatch sticks because I wasn't going to compare this, but I think I might actually compare it to the pink from the Silk Watercolor collection. I was going to compare it to the darker and brighter red, even though it's somewhere in between in the bottle, but this is not. This is a pink polish. It's been a little while since I've done my swatches, can you tell? Okay, so that is Glazed Days over the different bases. Okay, so in the bottle, here is Glazed Days next to the 3 comparable silk watercolor shades. There actually is not a red silk watercolor. They all swatched pink over all of the bases. So here is Glazed Days, and here is Love Sheen from the Silk Watercolor collection, which you can see look nothing alike in the bottle. Okay, and there's a lot going on here. These, whoa, okay. Everybody calm down. I just jammed them all together and they're still wet, so bear with me here. So these 3 here are the Glazed Days polish. These 3 here are Love Sheen from the Silk Watercolor collection. You can see they're not exactly the same tone of pink, and obviously there is a lot more pigment out of the Glazed Days polish. Love Sheen, which I already moved, and I don't want to jam them together again, but that was the only one out of the Silk Watercolor collection that seemed like it had a little bit of a creaminess to it as well. Next up is what I think looks closest in the bottle. So we have Glazed Days here, and then Blush Stroke from the Silk Watercolor collection. Again, looks a little bit lighter, not exactly the same in the bottle. So again, here is the Glazed Days polish, and here we have Blush Stroke from the Silk Watercolor collection. Also a little bit lighter across the board and not exactly the same tone of pink. And then lastly, we have Highest Bidder from the Silk Watercolor collection next to Glazed Days here, which is actually the most comparable once you'll see the swatches, but looks the most off in the bottle. And then still not spot on with this one, but very close, especially if you look at these glitters. Again, this is Glazed Days, and these 3 here are Highest Bidder. Not exactly the same tone, not the same amount of opacity, but comparable. I think the most comparable out of all of them, especially when you look at these 2 glitters. The next polish is called But First Candy, and this is a pretty solid grass green looking polish. So here it is over that silver. Yeah, that's a really nice green. Flooded the cuticle though. Over white. These have all been impressing me over the white because they are more even than the last jellies like this that I swatched over white. I still wouldn't wear them over white, but they don't look as bad as I thought they would. Some of them do. I think the orange one did. And then here over that silver glitter as well. So that is But First Candy, and there actually was not a green even close to this in the Silk Watercolor collection, so I don't have anything to compare it to. I guess I'll do like a quick comparison while showing you that I don't have anything to compare it to. But the closest would be Pen and Inky, which is not even close. It's a teal. The next polish is called Ooh La Lolly, and this is a blue jelly. And I'm going to go about this one cautiously. I don't have a lot of confidence in that white polish for being dry.
This is a pretty saturated blue. I put quite a bit on that white because I was afraid of smudging the white. Still not totally even. I'm not on board with the white. And then here it is over that glitter as well. So that is Ooh La Lolly. So the blue from the Silk Watercolor collection was called Point of Blue. They look fairly similar in the bottle. The Silk Watercolor one looks a little less jelly-ish than the Glazed Days Ooh La Lolly polish does here, but they're not very close in color at all. So you can see there's not too much comparison to be made here. Point of Blue comes off very like faded, almost a little bit navy, not as saturated, where Ooh La Lolly almost looks like oceany blue. I don't know. It's not comparable, I don't think, at all. And the last polish is a purple jelly. This is called Sweet Not Sour. So again, this is very saturated compared to its Silk Watercolor counterpart. I know I've said this a couple times now. I'm never going to love it over white, but they do look a lot better over white than I thought they would. Because I still had the Silk Watercolors in my mind. But I do really like it over this glitter. So that is Sweet Not Sour. So Sweet Not Sour has a semi-comparable Silk Watercolor counterpart. This is called No Shrinking Violet. Again, it looks a little bit more opaque and not quite the same color either. The Glazed Days Sweet Not Sour polish over here looks a lot darker, but they don't swatch that way at all. So we have the Glazed Days polish over here and the Silk Watercolor polish over here. Again, much more saturated. I guess I would even say usable. I'm not a nail art person, so for me, the more saturated ones are more usable. So Glazed Days over here, more saturated, darker colors, and then the Silk Watercolor purple over here, which is lighter, a little more faded, more sheer.
So I think Glazed Days is going to be my favorite. Oh wait, no, this is, I called this the wrong thing. Glazed Days collection, and then it says Glaze Effect on the caps. But yeah, Glazed Days is the name of the collection. The title will be right. Anyway, this one is gonna be my favorite because I thought it was full-blown red until I swatched it, and it's actually very pink. And when I was looking at this whole collection, like this all together, I kind of was missing that pink that the Silk Watercolor collection had. I wish there was a little more pink, and this one definitely comes off more pink. So that's my favorite. So that is the Essie Glazed Days collection. Again, I found those on the Ulta website. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.